Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I'm still not really understanding how Kristen can't find one lawyer, not one lawyer, with all her money, her status, to sit there and represent her in this custody battle. Now, she does have a smart idea when she's talking to Dimitri as far as getting Sloan. And, eventually this leads to the fact that she's going to give her some really expensive wine because, she's like a wine connoisseur or whatever. So she's going to give her some really expensive wine, which of course leads to the fact that she does wind up going downstairs to see EJ. The only thing that Demetrius need to talk about how he was proud of himself for seducing Gwen, which we're going to get to her in a minute because, let's talk about character assassination. But eventually, Kristen does get downstairs. She sees EJ tied up. And once EJ tells Kristen about, Megan's plan to kill Stefan, she's just like, she has that look of, oh, hell no. And this is where, again, you get to the point where it's like, the mirrors are a lot of things, right? But she's built entirely different from all the other Damaras, you know? First, and I don't remember if I said this yesterday, but when Kristen found out that Megan sold out Thomas Banks, she was like, that's not something that we do. We don't sell out our employees. And as she's sitting there trying to untie him, she was sitting there saying like, yeah, I knew that she wants to sit there and like have world domination or anything like that, and I went along with it. But it's like the thing that she left out was like she went along with it because it served her own interest as far as getting custody of Rachel. But what she didn't sit there and say was that she was looking at her sideways the entire time. I mean, who says that? We're in the year 2023. You're sounding like a damn James Bond villain talking about, oh, I want to sit there and rule the world, but I'll start with Salem first. I'm like, yeah, that would have been cool, like back in like 1980 or something, where like everything was so, I don't know, just a different time. But this just it. Listen, as much as I love comic books, this sounds a little bit too much like a comic book villain. This is why I call her Miss M. Bison, because who says something like that? But of course, Megan comes back and she finds out through Dimitri that Kristen's downstairs. So she comes downstairs with a gun, and she pretty much kind of ties up Kristen at this point, which is pretty impressive that she's able to tie her up and hold a gun to her at the same time. That's pretty impressive. I don't know how the hell she did that, but now they're both tied up. Now they are both tied up, and Kristen's like, "Yeah, I pretty much kind of aligned myself with the wrong person," which is I don't. I feel like Megan is back for a reason. They brought her back for a reason. And I feel like in some ways, this whole we're going to kidnap EJ, now we're going to sit there and kidnap Kristen. It's like, well, what are you going to sit there and do with Megan at this point? She hasn't even been back yet. And already, I I just hope that this man doesn't write himself into a corner. It's sort of like the whole Phyllis thing on The Young and the Restless about how she faked her death and she went away. But it's like now they got to sit there and try to figure out how she's going to come back into the show. Megan already sat there and got two bodies, um, two very alive bodies that she's keeping both of them in a crypt. What do you think is going to end up happening when they get back out? You know how EJ was furious, and we already know how Kristen is. I don't understand how it's going to work out. You got Kate that wants to sit there and hire Harrison to kill Megan. It's like, why I need you to kill her. But, Harrison is kind of done with that whole game as far as killing people. So he's like, yo, listen, I'll exile her somewhere. I'll take her away. Don't worry about where, but she won't be bothering you. But now Katie, now Katie. Now Kate wants him to sit there and take care of Demetria as well. And at this point, Harris was like, listen, taking care of one body is one thing. When you start adding another person into it, it just complicates things. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you have to sit there and kind of decide on which one you want to sit there and eliminate. If Harrison does it right, he doesn't have to sit there and worry about Dimitri as far as going after Megan. And I understand that Kate wants revenge on Dimitri, but I'm like that's gonna have to you have to table that. You have to sit there and decide which one do you want revenge on more, or which one's the bigger threat to your family. And I say Megan, since she wants to sit there and literally rule the damn world. So you got that going on, right? You got Leo sitting there questioning Gwen's integrity. I don't understand what happened to Gwen. When Gwen first came to town, she was this bad girl and everything like that. She was smart, she was sassy. You look at this episode today, and this is why I sit there and say character assassination. Because now, she wrote this puff piece for Dimitri, and she's sitting there talking to Leo about how they got a lot of things in common, and she really feels a connection. And I'm like, boo, that's not a connection. That's called loneliness. You're feeling lonely. You are clearly still probably not over Xander, and you feel the best way to get over him is to sit there and be with Dimitri. And listen, I'm more from moving on, but I'm like, whoa. You can sit there and even when Leo was like, "Come on now, you don't sit there and think that he may be playing you." And at first she's like, no. But then she's like, I don't know, maybe. And of course, Dimitri comes in there with flowers. So now all the brains and common sense just kind of went out the window. But I felt like she was always more sharper than that. She was always more sharper than that. And, a lot of these stories tend to do this, right? And I don't just mean soap operas, I mean stories in general. Where you turn this villain that have all these great instincts and great power and everything, and then you make them like they're not a villain anymore, right? So then you just make them dumb. Then they start doing dumb things. They they lost their sharpness, their edge, their reason of why people actually like them in the first place, and you pretty much just dulled her down into this, I don't know, plastic knife, you know. And regardless if it's soap operas, just anything in general, it just sucks. Okay, it just sucks. Point blank. Period. I'm gonna be honest. This is where the episode starts to go down a little bit when you got Nicole that they're looking for EJ, and runs into Stefan's room, and Stefan's like, "Yo, listen, he cares more about because Nicole's like, yo, listen, something's not right. He said he was gonna make this appointment. He's nowhere to be found, and I'm worried about him." And of course, Stefan's like, "Hey, listen, he wants to take me out more than he cares about that baby. That's just where his priorities are." And it really doesn't go anywhere because the only thing that winds up happening is that she goes to the hospital. She gets a text from Megan, who has EJ's phone, and says, "Hey, listen, just go through with the appointment." You know, and she still feels like there's something off, but you know, I don't know. I feel like that's about it for the most part. This episode was okay. It was mostly decent. There was a lot. There was some good stuff in it. The Megan stuff, Kristen and EJ and stuff. Um, hell, even Gwen and Leo have some really great scenes. And of course, Dimitri's still new, and so he's pretty intriguing so far. I just don't really like the character assassination of Gwen Rischak. It's like Sloane. It's like when Sloane first came in there, she was just so badass and sexy and everything. And now it's just like she's very needy, and it's just like, I want to sit there and offer, we can have a baby. And I'm like, why do you want to sit there and have a baby with somebody who's unemployed? Like, how does that even work? Like, I don't know. Anyway, with that being said, I think I'm gonna go. I feel like I missed some stuff, but I think that's kind of the gist of it. All in all, there was some good parts in it. But if I missed anything, you know what to do. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We snipped it going over all of them. BNB, Days, YNR, GH. With that being said, I'm going to go. And I thank you for watching. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video.